We are live. Welcome to another episode of the Hometown Socials Town Hall, where we discuss internet marketing and e-commerce strategies for local small businesses and anyone trying to grow their presence online. My name is Justin, and I, along with my sister Katie, host the podcast where we're going to talk about some of the things we learned from the previous week and discuss strategies as well as answering questions that come in live during the chat. So welcome in today, and welcome, Katie.
Hey guys, thanks for joining. We're broadcasting live from Hurricane Central today.
And rainy. Yes. We'll see.
Going to get worse though.
Both ways.
So hopefully not.
But we're definitely prepared for a hurricane, as well as being prepared for the hurricane of questions that are coming to come from the chat from today's topics. And we might as well get right into it. If you'd like to kick off your Fast Five, and what'd you learn this week, Katie?
Yeah, we always start off with a Fast Five. It's tips and tricks or lessons of the trade. So without further ado, I have tips, tricks, and gadgets from working from home. The first tip I have is to change locations from time to time to keep you motivated. I frequently change from my desk to the dining room table. Sometimes I will sit on the couch with a portable desk. Just to keep myself, changing spaces a little bit to keep things fresh and to keep me from, getting a little too kind of redundant, honestly. So I can move around a little bit where I'm at. We also have the office at the leasing office that we can go to if we want. I'm thinking about doing that a little bit more too sometimes, just in case to, have a change of scenery. If you truly work from home and fully remote or, part-time during the week, if you're remote, you can even consider going to a coffee shop. That's number 2 on my list is, not just changing locations throughout your home or your apartment, but actually going somewhere else that has Wi-Fi, maybe a library. That might be a little less sexy, I guess, than a coffee shop. But you can also network a little bit while you're at coffee shops. So they're a great place to kind of have a happy medium where you can get some Wi-Fi, have some snacks if you want to, and get out of the house, but still be able to fully work, remotely. Number 3, this is a very new thing, and I haven't set it up, so I might come back next week and say I'm crossing number 3 off my list. But for right now, number 3 is invest in an uninterruptible power supply unit. So we have this thing that's going to plug into the wall. We'll plug in our router and our modem to make sure, if the power goes off for a small amount of time, I think up to probably 45 minutes or an hour or so, we can still run off that backup battery generator that's involved with the power supply unit. So more to come. Hopefully that'll work. But if you're anything like me, we live in an apartment right now. And so occasionally if the internet flickers or if the power flickers for whatever reason, since there's so many people in the unit, I feel like I'm always on a call when it happens and I lose my Wi-Fi and I have to reconnect and restart and do this whole thing. So hopefully that'll keep us from having to deal with that too many more times. And definitely we'll come back and let you know if it seems like it's all.
One of the things I was thinking to interrupt you, we have all of our stuff in the drive. So what's cool about the drive is we can make it to where we work offline. And since both of us work off laptops, I think that'll give us a little bit of a advantage here over the next couple of days if we can work from the Google Docs. Obviously you can't update Amazon without the internet, but the other things that we have working on, we can do from the local computer.
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to go try to do this caveman style, I could try to download a bunch of reports.
Well, they were in the Amazon.
Yeah, they're still there probably. But no, I mean, I guess I could download a bunch of ad reports and thoroughly scan over search terms. The good news, bad news, though, is that with conditional formatting, it really only takes me about 6 minutes to set up each report. So for 2 days of work, it'd probably drive me a little crazy. But, if we had to, we could always play around with that. So that's a good point too. But most of my stuff's on Amazon. So we'll see what happens. Number 4, this is probably my favorite work from home tip, is keep a water at your desk. I have one of those obnoxiously large gallon water bottles. And so by each time of day, it breaks down, whatever amount of ounces it is. So if I look up at my water bottle and notice it's actually 1 p.m. and I've only drank enough water for it to be 9 a.m., then we have a problem and I need to hurry up. But at least it keeps me, motivated to drink my water. It keeps me on track for, how much you should drink in a day. And also having that big of a water bottle at my desk is just a little bit easier than getting up to go grab a glass of water every 20 minutes when I'm thirsty. So it kind of helps. It's kind of like a pro tip, I would say, for working from home. And then number 5, take breaks for your body, mind, and eyes. Justin actually was mentioning Andrew Huberman. I can't remember if it was the last podcast or the one previous to that, but we were going into the importance of having a healthy body, healthy mind. And there's a lot of research about getting sunlight in your eyes. And so when Justin and I were taking a lot of walks together, we would make sure we fixate our eyes and what we're looking at to be in just different distances, just to kind of stretch your eyes. And, there's a million other reasons why, but getting some sunlight, getting some distance, getting your eyes off of the computer that's 2 feet in front of you, getting out there, moving your body a little bit and taking a brain break is definitely important when you work from home, because if not, you'll become a workhorse. Everything is accessible and you'll never get off the computer. So it's definitely good to incorporate some breaks and a little bit of physical activity and get some sunshine, which I definitely need to get back into. But with a hurricane coming, I'm not sure the next 2 days are the best to do the outside walk.
You definitely won't be able to take your calls from outside, walking around with your phone taking notes.
Yeah, you'd be surprised when our power, or it makes it sound like we live in the middle of nowhere. It's just we've got a lot of trees around here, so the internet is kind of, in and out. But I'll try to take a call in here, and usually if the internet's bad, my service is also bad, so I have to run outside. And it is mostly raining at 2:30.
I did just get a note here from legal. We have to specify when we mean get sunlight in your eyes, we do not mean to walk out and stare at the sunshine or stare right at the sun. Just a public service announcement there. Make sure.
On that note, if you're buying fake sunglasses, please stop doing that. It's actually worse for your eyes than not wearing any sunglasses at all. That's what I'm going to say about that. Do your research.
Good. Always a lot of
that was it
on
my past 5,
working from home and good strategies. And there's so much that you can learn and optimize your at work or at home work life balance. Whatever that is. We're still trying to figure that out. And if you're digital nomads like us and want to travel and see things and don't have the finances to be able to just take months off at a time, this is what we're trying to figure out. And we'd love to share information on that. So with that being said, I have my Fast 5, and my Fast 5 for today is going to be pointed at corporations who are looking to optimize their content creation process. And this just goes to say that a batching day is the best way for a larger corporation who has subject matter experts, let's say engineers or thought leaders in the finance space, anything along the lines of professional services, definitely have trouble batching content or automizing or offloading that to a creative agency, because there is some knowledge gap from ghostwriting that is definitely evident in your content. So real quick, the batching day is something that will have its own Fast 5 that talks about how to prep for a batching day, how to research topics. This is just going to be about post-production after you've already done your batching day. So the first thing is take the full-length videos and place them on YouTube. Make sure that you set up the intro and the outro while you're filming the videos and while you're capturing the content in a way that you can come back and do editing to make these look as professional as possible. So get multiple intros, get multiple outros, and the key questions, have somebody answer the question again. So if you're having your subject matter expert introduce themselves and go into their content and topic, have them do it for a second time on camera, because there's multiple ways in post-production to work on that. So approach the interview as full length, but then also make sure you have some additional clips of some of the key components of the interview. Second is the transcripts. The transcripts are a important tool for SEO. It can also be something that you use just to write regular articles about, or to help with the disabilities for online viewing and consumption of these videos. Use a tool like Trint, Trint. it's an AI tool that watches the video and takes the content from the video and transcribes it right there. And then you are just doing post production editing on that, making sure that the terminology that it's referencing is correct, the names are correct, and the correct spelling. And they have multiple tools in there that makes that process much faster as you continue to use it. So that dictionary tool has become really helpful in our niche because there's a lot of terminology that is abbreviated, so it makes it really difficult to just transcribe through some of the other services. So with the AI tool, it has a learning algorithm in it that will know what you mean when it's said. Take those full transcripts and write articles about it, or post them as an article. Sorry. Have an intro set up for those articles, and then let the transcript be the article and have the video at the top. So writing the intro just kind of overviews what's going to be talked about in the interview or in the long format piece of content. And then the transcript below, if you set it up correctly, can be very advantageous for SEO. And then if you use YouTube and you have the transcript on the video in YouTube, that is going to help a lot when you embed that into your website there. And one of the things in the prepping for the batching day is you want to collaborate with the partners that you have in those clients that you serve, or maybe some of the partners that you have that help you in your offering. So when you collaborate with them and you create content with them, if you're already going to be doing the post-production on all these videos anyway, if you're collaborating with partners, then they're going to want to engage in the content post promotion and share it on their page, invite their fan base to look at it or consume your content. So you want to make sure that you're collaborating with partners, and then in promotion time, sharing all the creative assets with them. And if, for example, we have a company that we use, or our partner uses, in order to fulfill all of their culture and operating systems, and that company has its own philosophies that it wants to take our marketing material and use to promote their strategies and how it's impacted this business. So they're taking our content, they're repurposing it, and they're sharing it on their platform with their logo on it. And all we had to do was just send it to them. So there's that. And then the last one is clip the videos where there is significant topics being discussed. Write an article about the topic in more detail, and then reference that video and current content. And then say, if you're looking for more from this subject matter expert, here's the full interview here. So for example, one of our clients is in the automotive industry. So they're talking about technology and the edge computing and AI and autonomy. So we wrote an article on autonomy, and then we referenced that small clip and then said, here's the whole interview with a thought leader in the space. So that's how to optimize the content for corporations. And that's your 5 tips post batching day.
Awesome. I have a couple of questions if we want to get started. I don't know if you've got something pressing
no updates for me.
Something cool that you want to get into.
Other than I'm super excited about some of the contractors we've met and worked with this week, and some of the content we've been able to create so far, and the progress that we've made. And I'm really excited for you and I to go up to Chicago and do another batching day.
Yeah, we'll definitely probably have some more tips and tricks when we come back, especially when it comes to videography and filming, since we'll have to become the experts on that next week.
Yeah, all of it.
And storage on
excited for that
situation. So
what are your questions? Let's get right into it.
Yes. Yeah, I just thought these would be cool conversation starters. I thought of them in the car earlier. And then one of them is left over from last week. So my first question is, what non-directly business-related investment have you made recently that's made a really big
other than the water fountain I just put in my room
for you? Well, I guess, yeah, that would work if you want to explain why it's
that's a great question. So tools that are non-business, anything non-business.
not just
Well,
thing.
just me reemphasizing my health
Mhm.
and my routine has really helped in optimizing my productivity in these blocks that I've been able to not start getting back into. So prioritizing when I go to bed and when I wake up has really been helping me significantly in my cravings, in my attention span, and also in my planning and cognitive ability. So I'd say that. What about you?
That's great. I this one's a little more materialistic, I guess, but it's not like a super recent investment, but a couple of months ago I spent like a minimal amount on Amazon and got a bunch of Lululemon dupes. So I have three tank tops and three pairs of shorts that are now the perfect work from home, like athleisure, but more comfortable and more appropriate kind of a thing. So that's made all the difference because now I can work from home and be in air conditioning, but then run outside in 100-degree weather and still take a walk and come back and not be like needing to change 45 times in one day.
And
But that's, I think, been
we
my
both have
my
personal brands,
most
and
recent
there's
investment
movements
that
and
actually turned out really cool.
missions that we both serve. And one of mine, I'm really working on developing the guiding principles for. And I really love how some of the people I follow have made their guiding principles really easy to relate to and easy to understand. And one of them, I think I'm gonna make: if you find a good pair of shoes, buy two. And I think that spending the extra little bit of money on something that you definitely know you enjoy, want, need, is gonna help, or you're gonna use it. It's definitely worth just purchasing it and figuring out how to pay for it later if it's expensive, because shoes change so much, right? It's kind of like um, a what's that called, a metaphor for life, because the opportunity's there, you got to strike while the iron's hot. So grab the two pairs of Nike Free Run 4s that I miss so much that I'll never be back, because now they're on like Free Run 97, I think.
That's right. No, I mean, you at least have one supporter of that because I'm the definition of, oh, I liked this shirt, so I bought it in three colors, and now I have a wardrobe for the next 2 years. I'm definitely living my capsule closet life. So minimalism is
Well, you got another question
working
for
for
me?
me. That's all. Sorry. I do. So this is a little bit different, but what I was thinking of my answer for the first question, I was thinking about working from home. And having that work from home outfit is really necessary, especially if you're just transitioning. You'll see what I mean. If you haven't done it yet, you'll know later. But question number two is, what is your opinion on having a completely remote agency? Do you still see a benefit to working in a
Yeah,
communal
so I
office
think
setting?
it's going to
What are
be
your
what we
thoughts?
make it moving forward. They're one of the ladies that we work with and have partnered with. They do a every Friday they have a Zoom meet. All cameras are on, and they have like a roundtable discussion kind of a thing. And I think what we can do is the expense that you would spend on having an office space needs to be invested in the business at a level that's towards the people more than what would have been at that point just in the building. And I think it's going to allow for more talent, and we can reach out much further than the 15, 20 miles from where we live. So having a digital agency is going to be the difference. That's going to make the difference in a digital agency is the culture that you establish internally amongst team members. And if you are going to be remote, you can't be distant from one another. You're going to have to spend the capital and get everyone together and ask tough questions, or give everybody a chance to get to know each other still. So there has to be that personal aspect. And then when you look at where we are and the future and the direction, and being a remote digital agency, what are some of your thoughts there?
I I see a benefit to building a real connection. I definitely think, for example, two guys that I've been working with for a while, we've never actually met in person, and I don't feel like I don't know them whatsoever. It is a little weird sometimes to think that I have no idea, what they're really like face to face. I did find out that one of them is very, very tall the other day, and I had no idea. So that's kind of funny. But as far as maybe, if it's possible to grab drinks with your coworkers or grab a coffee or something, if one of your coworkers that's remote does live close to you, I think that would be a great idea. But then maybe even if everyone is really spread out, just to do some non-work activities together over Skype or over Zoom, and trying to use camera when you can, and just try to make it a little bit more intimate, and get to know each other on that personal level. I think that's kind of the only piece that sometimes is missing, especially if you onboard while you're remote and you've never met anyone, face to face, which is happening for a lot of people. So breaking that barrier and kind of that fourth wall and getting to know people more is definitely important. And it's a little bit harder when it's not face to face, making it a little bit easier. So I don't know. I see a benefit to both. I kind of like the hybrid model a little bit, but I also do see a big benefit to using the investment that would be in an office space different ways, and, putting it back into the company another way, I think is a great idea. So even if you can do, I'm just kind of, thinking out loud, some kind of a remote team building exercise, or if you can get some kind of a central location, or if, everyone that works for you is somewhere around the state of Florida, can you come in the middle to Central Florida and do a, weekend getaway or something like that? I think would be a really cool idea.
I like, it's always going to be about people and the relationships you build. And the conversations I had today, or one of the conversations I had today, the man that I met with we were on Zoom, and I normally don't just get on camera for Zoom because I don't need to. In most of our meetings, it's irrelevant. And he jumped on, and he was on camera, and he's like, "Hey man, you got to get on." He's a football coach. He's like, "You got to get on camera. We're meeting face to face. There's a reason why we're doing the Zoom." And he was, talking about today's generation and all that kind of stuff being kind of silly but serious. And to me, I was like, I have no problem getting on there, so I'll jump on. I'll show my face. Normally do it for others. Now, I do have a question for you.
When we
and where is it here? There it is. Okay. My question is, when was the last time you were out of your comfort zone, and what did you do? Sure, could be.
I'm guessing this is work related. Well, technically, I think I've got a client who challenges me in a lot of really good ways. The client is very in tune with every single thing that's happening in their business, which is great because it provides a level of intimacy to where they're always on it. I have to always be on it. We work really well together, and we can always kind of push the needle, which is great. But every single Wednesday when we have our calls, I go into it thinking like, what's going to happen today? Because I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know. And I'm going to find out in 5 minutes. Then I'm going to find out really quick. So there's a lot of, just particular skill sets that come into play at that point. Client management, managing expectations, thinking fast on your feet. It's also about really being prepared for those things. If you have an answer to it, make sure you explain it in a way that, makes it understood that you're on top of whatever is going on. You understand what's going on. You're already working on it. And if it's the first that you've heard of something and you didn't notice it, you definitely have to field that question appropriately, or else it's going to look like you don't know what the hell's going on. And that's never a good place to be, especially as a business owner or an account manager.
Authentic in those reactions too, right? So, and taking ownership in that moment where maybe you might be caught off guard by something, saying, "Oh, I will look into that, and I will have something back to you with once I get more detail, or once I can wrap my head around the whole situation here."
Absolutely. And I think sometimes too, because everyone's human, right? And there's a reason that there's a team, and there's a reason that client is representing his business and I'm representing ours, is because we're supposed to work together. And so if he finds something that I didn't see, I give him credit for it. Great catch. I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you for feeling comfortable enough to talk to me about it. I would definitely want to dive in. I haven't seen it yet. Or, oh, you know what? I had a feeling I couldn't figure out or couldn't put my finger on exactly what it was. Great find. That always helps to field it. It is taking ownership. It is being honest. And, it just builds trust, because at the end of the day, what I've realized is your clients don't need you to be perfect, but they definitely want you to be honest and they want you to be paying attention. And so if you didn't catch something, but that's your first priority now, and now you've got an objective and a deliverable for next week and you're all on the same page, that's okay. You know what I mean? It's a team for a reason. They are going to look for what they're going to look for, and you're more inclined to go towards a different route. It just means that having all those cooks in the kitchen is worth it, and it brings a wealth of knowledge, and it makes sure that all your bases are covered. So definitely with the honesty piece that you mentioned, owning up to it, that kind of helps me. But if you want to share, something that's made you a little bit get out of your comfort zone a little bit. If you want to dive into
I can do that with the
recently,
time we have left. I do have one question for you that I think we could use, and that would be beneficial in content. So I'll spend 45 seconds starting now talking about my comfort zone. So we obviously have a client that we do a lot of content for, and what was pushing me out of my comfort zone and also became a glaring red flag to me is my ability to write is great for conversations and good for me to understand what's going on, but transferring that from my head to paper to something that needs to be read by someone else definitely needs another person. And so I went out of my comfort zone. I took on that as a challenge, and I didn't back down. I spent 30, 40 hours worth of time writing. And in that process, I learned a lot, and I challenged myself and was definitely uncomfortable, but it made me more particular. And I also understand these topics a lot more. So when the creative contractors that we use to fulfill this content are writing about these topics, not only do I have understanding, but I also have like notes of what I took and what I did and the way I was going. So it gives some context there. So with the last 3 minutes, my question for you, Katie, is in regards to the project that you're working with David and getting an Amazon business started. What are some of the questions that you're looking for answers to, and what are some of the opportunities in this process that have you excited?
I'm definitely excited about the entire thing. The goal here is to find a product or two and list them on Amazon, with us being in charge of everything, and just see what the process looks like, from this point of view. And I think what I'm most excited about is the fact that I am really going to be able to challenge myself and learn a lot about this. The one piece that I don't spend a lot of time doing is the product research initially before launching a product. I do it all the time once the product is already on there, but taking that initial risk is going to be a lot different. And so I'm excited to be able to finally do it for myself. I'm excited to be able to build something and to, take part in this huge Amazon business that I'm doing for hundreds of other people at this point. But one thing I'm a little nervous about is spending too much time in the research phase and not, standing up and just taking the risk, so I'm hoping that that's where David is going to come in and give me the pushback, because I can do an extensive amount of research, but you never know until you try. And I think the biggest thing about Amazon right now is that we already know the potential is out there. It is high competition though. So the biggest thing is getting started and not stopping. That doesn't mean, 3 years down the road, you've invested $1 million and you haven't sold anything and you think you're going to keep going. That wouldn't make any sense. However, if you're 3 months in and you're still in the red, but now you're starting to get sales, there's a clear opportunity there, and you need to
where you do
keep
have
going
experience
and keep fighting rather than
the
pull
current
back right
listings,
away. So,
and I know you've had clients come to you where their organic reach isn't very good, and you do a few things to the listing, you start to promote some ads, you really have a emphasis on reviews. So maybe talk for 40 seconds about what's important in that process and how you can help somebody who would be in that position.
Yeah, so the first thing that's most important for, in my professional opinion, is to start getting sales. And even if you have to have a loss later or, spend a bunch on ads at first, and a bunch means, relative to your budget and what you've already planned aside and things, but you're not going to get any product reviews without making any sales. So definitely do your keyword research, use SEO tools, and find exactly what you need to make your listings set up, for success with your images and your bullet points and your product title. And we can go ad nauseum about that. But run those ads and get your product out there so that you can get some reviews going, because ultimately it's that whole cycle of needing reviews to get orders, needing orders to get reviews.
And maybe
so
one thing you want to warn the viewers is
the better.
Make sure that you're not having your friends or people who you live with purchase and leave reviews on your listings.
Yeah, definitely don't have anyone that friends, family, college roommates, anything like that. Don't reach out to them to have them put a fake product review for you, because all of those accounts are connected like a spider web. And as soon as Amazon realizes that you're getting people to write faulty reviews for you, even if it is a great product, they could ultimately shut down the ability for people to leave reviews on your listing, or you could have even worse things happen temporarily or permanently. So definitely make sure you're getting honest reviews. There's a few different programs like the Vine program. They used to have early reviewer program. So look into some of those things that are definitely not
great.
Black
A lot
hat
of good
ways
tips
of
there
getting
at the end
reviews.
about Amazon, and a wealth of knowledge from the two of us for earlier topics. So I appreciate everyone attending today, and there are some questions that we had posted today. So one from California that we'll have to add into the queue and we'll get to next week. Got a little off topic, but we appreciate your time today, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday from Chicago, possibly in a studio with 4K cameras and our faces. And no hurricane warnings.
And no hurricane warnings.
My guess. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys.